All right, it's prep time. So let's talk about materials that we're going to need for this tutorial. And I'll show you what we'll be making. So what we're going to be making are stickers. As you can see, these are laminated stickers. You can see the laminate, kind of nice and shiny. And that's why I laminate, because it looks good. Okay, so first thing you'll need, painter's tape. Very important. This is, because I know everybody's going to ask, this is the magnet paper that I use. I get it on Amazon. I have Amazon Prime. I have stacks of it. This is the sticker paper that I use. Same company. I took a chance with these guys. I seen some bad reviews. I have yet to give a bad review. This stuff is amazing. You get 100 sheets. I think it's something like I don't even remember what it was. I think it's like 20 bucks for 100 sheets of sticker paper. Then this is quick laminating, self-adhesive Avery 9x12. You'll see what I use this for, because this is what I laminate everything with. This is called cold press laminating. It's self-adhesive. There's no heat involved. You get a pack of 50, and that goes a long way. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the mat. Here is not a brand new mat, but this nonetheless is a mat. I didn't want to do a brand new one. These are mats. These mats that I have tend to not be very sticky. They don't need to be. You'll see why in the other portion of the video. But just to say, the self-adhesive, the edges kind of stick it down themselves. As long as you're not doing super complex, intricate cuts, you should be all set. So on this particular mat, I can already see, I've already been using this mat for a while, so you can kind of see where it's gotten the lines from the page here, and these are the cut corners. Now one thing I am going to do is, the Cricut machine doesn't care which side, which, does it go in that way or does it go in the, it doesn't care. We don't really care. In this case, I've already kind of started wearing out the corners. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to use the other side of the mat to do basically the exact same thing without any issues. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start taping up the mat. Alright. Now, I know I'm going to have my full size sheet over here. So we're going to make that this area. And I'll show you what I do here. So there's that. Now I do the three sides. I'll do the three sides first. Reason being is now that we have the three sides done, we can take a full sheet of paper and get an idea. No, it's actually stickier than I thought it was. Anyway, get an idea of where, it's going to fall. So because we're going to be feeding this through the cutter this way, what we want to do, and I tend to tape up the whole rest of the access. So I'll tape up this. You don't want to overlap, so we don't want any off the edge. I'll just remove that. So the rest of this I'm going to go ahead and just tape right up. That way it stays sticky. You can use it later for whatever you need to use your mat for. I have a bunch of these mats. I get them on sale either through Cricut or Hobby Lobby, Michaels, whenever they have them on sale. You can usually get them for 40% off. You get like, I think 2-3 mats, depending on what you buy. Okay. So we're basically just, at this point, we're just covering up all the excess sticky. All right, we're done with the painter's tape. Get that out of the way. Here's the next thing. So we're gonna go into design space. And I'll just go ahead and try to make this work a little bit better. I'm gonna make this real quick and easy because I don't feel like editing a bunch of videos together. So there's our mat. We got our painter's tape on it. Like I said, it doesn't matter what side we put this through in the Cricut, but in this case, it is gonna be backwards. Here's the thing at the bottom. This is how I'm gonna enter for cutting purposes and preparing the mat. Okay, to prepare the mat for in design space, we need to make a shape. We're gonna do a square. We're gonna unlock it. We're gonna do 8.5 by 11. So 8.5 by 11. We're gonna position it. Well, first of all, angles be fine. We're gonna position it at 0 by 0. All right. So that is a full sheet of paper. It's on the canvas. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now we're just gonna hit make. All right, we're gonna leave it here. Don't mess with it. It's just gonna cut one big full-size sheet. We want to hit continue. Now for this, again, this is all just for prepping the mat. I'm gonna go ahead and choose my cutter. I have an Explorer 1. I didn't feel the need for anything else for what I was doing. I may consider getting a different one in the future, especially considering I don't think my knob is working properly and their tech support has yet to figure out why that is. So, and I haven't figured out why it is. Anyway, we're going to change our material. For this, I'd probably just do light cardstock. I don't really see to do anything crazy. I mean, a regular sheet of paper would probably work, or maybe even vinyl. Let's just do vinyl. Is there anything in here for? All right, we're just gonna do. I'm just gonna choose vinyl printable on this one. I mean, the whole point is just to cut the tape. We don't need to do anything else. We just need to cut the tape. All right. Oops, sorry about that. Now we sent this to the cutter. Let's go over here and let's get our mat with just our tape on it. We have nothing else on there but the tape. I'm going to load it as I always load my mats, all the way flush to the left. Oh. I'm back. Painter's tape, mat, loaded, full sheet. Keep it flush to the left, not a lot of pressure. I usually just bend the mat like this a little bit. That's all the pressure I put in. I'm gonna load the mat. That's it. If you push in too much, it's gonna offset your cut. You know, you don't wanna do that. And then we're just gonna hit cut. And all we're cutting is a rectangle. For safe measure, I'm going to cut it one more time. Don't always do that, but for this I'm going to make sure I cut through the tape. Different parts of the tape are thicker because it's layered. Alright, we're all set. Now, we're going to peel where it cut. Just like that. And all we want to do is get that full sheet rectangle. There we go. Now remember, it's going to go through the mat. In this case, it's going to go through backwards. It can be either way. And as you'll see in the rest of the video, this is how you place your file or your paper that's going to be cut. This is how you get your perfect alignment. And I'll show you a couple tricks and stuff. I'll probably actually do my best to screw up a cut just to show you how to adjust it. Sometimes I have to do that. Not very often. You kind of get used to it as you go. Alright, anyway, let me move on to the next step. Alright, I'm going to run you through how I create my files for full page cutting with the Cricut. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to choose letter, 8.5 inches wide by 11 inches tall, 300 resolution for good print quality. Now the first thing I do is I create my registration marks. So I'm creating a 1/4 inch block. And I'm going to create one in each corner of my file. You're not really going to be able to see it right now. They're white. Alright. I'll make the background black so you can see the registration marks. So as you can see, here are the registration marks. There's one in every corner. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my files that I'm going to wish to cut. These files are already transparent PNGs. As you can see, I have the white around the images. That was done when I created these files. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to show you how I place them on here. Trying to utilize as much space as possible. Okay. Now, when I'm done with that, I'm going to turn the background off. I do that just so I can see where my positioning is. And then I'm going to save it as a PNG. Actually, make sure it's transparent. So as you can see in Photoshop, these squares means there's no background. That's the transparency. I'm going to save all this as a PNG. Alright, and once I get that file saved, I can go ahead and upload that into Design Space. Let me go ahead and open Design Space. Oh, had to open. Now this is the new Design Space. This is 3.0 beta. It doesn't use Flash, works great. It's much faster. We're going to go ahead and upload the image. We're going to do simple image. We're just going to hit continue. We're not going to do anything here, just hit continue again. Now when you make sure you add your image to your, you do not, I repeat, do not want to do save and print cut image. You want to just do cuts. You can see the registrations are in the corners of the file. This is the transparent cuts. We're going to go ahead and save that. Now I'm going to select that and insert it into my Design Space canvas. Now right off, it's going to be the wrong size. So the next thing we want to do is we want to turn off or unlock aspect ratio, and we're going to put 8.5 as the width and then we're going to put 8 or 11 as the height. We're going to want to change our XY axis to 0, 0. This will position it properly on the mat, and that's it. And then we're going to go to make. We do not touch this. This is already positioned on the mat, 0, 0. And we'll move on to the next step before actually making the cuts. Okay, now I'm going to go over printing. So one of the first things, try to make this a little clearer. For printing, now because I'm using Photoshop, it's a little bit easier here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Alright. So under printer settings, for this particular, I'm going to actually cut we'll do stickers. I choose semi-gloss. Okay. I do rear paper for this particular printer. Okay. Now the other thing you need to do is make sure that your paper is center. That is very important. Okay, while it's centered, we can go ahead and print. Actually, I gotta load the paper. Okay. So here's my printer. Rare paper feed. Now one thing I've found is that sometimes it doesn't always load correctly, so a lot of times I'll basically eject the paper and reload it. Okay. We want to make sure it gets perfectly lined up like it's supposed to be. Alright, there we go. Go ahead and print it. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit proceed, even though it's technically out of bounds, meaning that the image is larger than the paper, which is fine. Again, this is my Epson Workforce WF7610. We'll go ahead and let this print, and I'll show you what I do next. Okay, now that my print is done, I'll show you what I do next. This is my Avery paper. This is the cold laminate. It's adhesive, it's clear. There's a top part for peeling. The small part, you can see it there. And what I do is I have a piece of glass here. Here's my print. This is my sticker paper. What I like to do is kind of line it up. Just on that little, you can see like a little bit of the paper, so it's nice and straight. I push it down, and I push it down on the glass. Alright, now this is the trick. I pull this back, I start to peel the backing up here, and then I pull this, put my finger under here, put my whole palm under here, and I slightly push down as I pull. I do a back and forth motion. And that's it. Now we're going to pull that up. And we're going to get the mat that we prepped. Take our mat cover off. Peel our paper. Now I know this is the way that I printed it. You can already see the gloss and shine to it. Now I'm going to line it up on my mat from the corner. Usually the bottom, and because the tape's on the mat, it also kind of just falls right into place. You can kind of feel it. I make sure I line up on the corners. I push it down here. I also use the laminate edges to help stick it to the mat. These mats aren't very sticky. I tend to use my old mats for this. And as you can see, now the paper's on the mat. Now, registration marks didn't print, they're white, so you're not going to see them on the mat. And the next thing I'll show you, go ahead and we'll send it to the cutter. Alright, I sent my file to the cutter. We'll go ahead and load it. Now for this particular sticker with the laminate on it, we'll go ahead and put it in the cutter. I set mine to custom on the knob. My knob's not actually working right sometimes, so I just kind of leave it at that. One thing I do is I load it. I don't put any pressure. I hold the mat just kind of up a little bit. No pressure. I make sure it's flush to the left. I try to keep it as straight as possible, and then I hit the load button. That's it. I let it sit. Now, because this is on custom settings, it's on 0.4 millimeter, and it's a custom setting for stickers that I created. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit cut. Now, right off the bat, the first thing it's going to cut are the registration marks. Just little squares to know that the paper is lined up. Now, one thing I've noticed is that actually, for whatever reason, this is off. If I got too much of a gap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it. I'll show you a little trick. So these two have already cut. They're slightly off center. Now, normally I would have stopped this earlier, but I was kind of hoping this was going to happen so I can actually show you a trick to this. So rather than reloading the mat and doing everything over, which I'm actually I am going to reload the mat. So we're going to unload the mat. So if you do run into mistakes like that, it does happen on occasion. Now, you can see where it's off a little bit, and the image needs to move over a little bit. So rather than to peel it off the mat, all I'm going to do is put it back into the cutter. I'm going to move it slightly over from this left offset, just a tiny bit, just enough to recut. I'm going to load it again. Alright, the first thing you're going to think is if I hit cut again, it's going to cut over the same two images. Well, those images are pretty decent. I'm going to keep those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trick the cutter. I'm going to remove the blade. And then I'm going to run the cut. It thinks it's going to be cutting. Obviously it's not. There's no blade in. So what I want to watch for are these are the two cuts that I already went through. Alright, we'll let the second one finish. And be ready. When it lifts, you want to pause it. We're going to put the blade back in. That's it. Don't push on it, don't touch it. Unpause it. It'll start making the next cut. It'll typically stop. There you go. Hit the load button again. It'll continue. Now my alignment is absolutely perfect. And it'll finish making the rest of the cuts. And everything should come out great. So we'll go ahead and let it continue to do that. Now I have noticed when I do a lot of cutting, it will, sometimes the machine will start to offset a little bit if I'm doing a bunch of pages. I kind of adjust for that as I go. So if I'm going to do a stack of stickers, sometimes I'll have to move it over a little bit and not, which is why I showed you how to remove the blade and put it back in. Alright, we're almost done. We got a couple more left. Now one thing I also do is when it gets up to the corner registration cuts, I'll usually stop it. So this is our last, wait, no, we didn't cut yet. So I've got 2 more cuts. Alright, here's the last one. As soon as it's done, it's going to go cut the corner. You can let it cut the corner. It's not that big of a deal. I typically stop it. Just pause it, unload mat, and there we go. Those are our cuts. Now we're going to go ahead and remove this. So let me adjust the camera and I'll show you how I remove these off the mat. Alright, here's my trick for removing anything off the mat. I know people have different tools that they sell, like these things. Actually, I just bought this for my fiance. I don't use it at all. Haven't had a need to, at least for what I'm doing. So here's my mat, my cuts. I take it face down. I peel the mat away from whatever I'm taking off the mat. So we're going to pull that, and then we're just going to pull the mat off. So these will instantly pop right off. Anything that's bent on the mat tends to come right off. So I just keep pulling the mat away. And that's it. Bend your mat. These come right off. Like I said, this is not a super sticky mat. I tend to wear these out. I've had one that was absolutely not sticky at all. And then occasionally you'll get one that's not perfect. Just remove them. Here's your sheet. There's your waste. Look at that. Barely wasted any. I could have probably even put a couple more on there if I really wanted to take time. So there's our batch of stickers. Now I'll show you what I do with these next. So we're going to move on over here. And let's see. So we laminated these. Alright. So the next thing we need to do, it's kind of hard to see, but there's like little tiny bubbles. They're not quite perfect yet. So what I have here is just a thick piece of cardboard. It's actually 2 pieces of cardboard that I put together. It's not cardstock, it's kind of thick, you can kind of see it. Alright, now this is my cold press. It's actually a hot press laminating machine. It does hot or cold. I only use it for cold, I've never used it for hot yet. I load it in the back. I make sure it's on cold press. I turn it on. It'll start to pull the cardboard through a little bit, and then I set my stickers on the cardboard before I turn it back on. I try to make sure they don't overlap. It's gonna be kind of hard to see the first ones that are gonna go in there. I just push them in until they hit the roller, and what this will do is this will press the stickers for me. I used to do it a lot different with a pasta machine. I think there's a video on my Instagram about that. Don't do it that way, it's a pain in the butt. This machine's not cheap, but so much nicer. And there are other machines out there. So let's go ahead and we're just going to turn it on since it's already loaded. Not the fastest thing. Sometimes you can double up the stickers, you know, make sure they don't move. This machine's not a super heavy press, so it doesn't tend to distort things if they do accidentally get overlapped a little bit. But once they come out, they look like really nice glossy vinyl stickers, and actually they're just paper stickers. So we'll let that finish. And I just pull it out, turn it off, and I'm done. So these are all my stickers. So again, there we go. And that's it. And that is how you get a full page print cut, whatever you're doing. You can do magnets. I do magnets. I just got vinyl sticker paper, or printable vinyl, basically. I'm not sure I would laminate that yet. I haven't played with it. I actually was thinking about trying to get some clear laminate or clear vinyl to put over the vinyl stickers, so they'd probably last a little bit longer if you wanted to put them on cups or outdoors or however. But so there's those. And let's see, we got one. How many we get? 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got 12, about 12 stickers. Looks like 12 stickers from one sheet of paper. And as you can see, if you look at the mat where the registration mark was, you can actually see where it's still sitting there. So that's the registration mark, and that is how it works. And you can see where it starts to wear on the mat. As you're going to see when these mats, eventually you're going to start to wear out this part. I've actually cut clean through these registration marks here. One thing I found is because we're only using a quarter of, or 3/4 of the mat, the Cricut machine doesn't care what way you put this mat in. It doesn't know the difference. So if you wanted to, you could peel all the painter's tape off this mat, flip it over, and use the other side to line up your images. Just make sure you don't cut clean through here, because that will cause a problem when you're cutting on the other side. This part over here is still a lot stickier than this part, even though there is some stick still left to it. So you would be able to put it in this way, as long as you take off your painter's tape and redo the mat for the way we prep it. And I think that's about it. Thank you.